Hi everyone, welcome to the new episode of Career Cookies. My name is Freddie from Career Services and Engagement Team, and we invited Mr. Sean An, co-founder and managing director Asia Pacific at Cornerstone Global Partners. CGP is one of the largest recruitment agencies with offices worldwide offering executive search, recruitment process, and human resource outsourcing service to multinational and domestic firms. Sean has over 20 years of professional experiences in the executive search area. CGP specializes in senior functional positions in industrial, construction, property, fast-moving consumer goods, and life science. Sean is also an active member of SME Challenge organizations where he advises SMEs in Southeast Asia on transformation projects. So Sean, it's good to have you with us today.
Thank you very much, Freddie.
Right, so Sean, this interview basically aims to address some of the pressing questions that our graduates have regarding to job search and hiring to help them navigate, in a dynamic environment, employment landscape successfully. So now, Sean, as a professional recruiter with more than a decade experiences in executive search field, my first question would be, how has the employment scene evolved over the past 2 to 3 years that our graduates should be aware of?
First, myself, I'm also an interviewee in the past after I graduate. That's back in 1998, where I graduated from Singapore and then NTU. So having gone through as an interviewee like yourself, and also been through a recruiter in the last 20 over years, the last 2 to 3 years have actually seen a very big difference in terms of the way we interview and the way we get a job. So because of COVID, a lot of things are done online for the pre-screening, and the final rounds are usually done towards the back. As compared to 4 years ago, a lot of things are done in person at the office. So I guess that's the biggest change for most people. So having a good demeanor in front of your camera, and also some techniques on lightings for your Zoom interviews or your video interview is important to take note.
Right, so even at the end of COVID, is this type of setup still stays?
Still stays, yes. I think this is very efficient for a lot of the HR and recruiters to save some time instead of meeting face-to-face and save the transportation as well.
Right, I guess this has also changed the recruitment process in a way, right?
That's right, to be more efficient, I would say.
Right. So since that changes some of the recruitment process, just for the sake of our viewers, especially our graduates, could you briefly share with us a typical recruitment process done by the recruiter?
Typically in a recruiter's day, they will be screening, say, a few hundred resumes over emails. In the past, they used to be on paper. Today, everything is on email, Microsoft Words or PDF. They'll screen through and do the selection, do some phone calls to the selected few, make arrangement schedules with them, call back to those people who they have lined up for interviews for today, and or probably in the afternoon meet some of them face-to-face in person, whether it's in our office or at our candidates' workplace. So that's kind of a typical work day for the recruiter, and screening resumes and interviewings.
Right, so it does actually take a while for the recruiters to screen. In that case, for our graduates, how early should students actually start preparing for the career then?
Most students actually are not prepared for the work interviews after they graduate. I see a lot of mistakes that graduates do, including myself 30 years ago, where the first job came and I took the first job without considering what sector I want to go into, industry, function. So I'm trained as a mechanical engineer, and my first job is not in mechanical engineering. Important thing is, I think the preparation should come when you're in year 1 of university. Decide what you want to do in life and work towards that. Go and do internship in the industry or function that you desire. For example, if you desire to be a HR manager in the future, during your summer break or your year-end break, go and do an internship as a HR intern in some of the MNCs. If you desire to be an investment banker, go for the banks, write in yourself to the banks to ask for an internship job during your holidays, because internship will help you get the first job in the first company, the right company that you want to go for. So I would say the preparation should start as early as possible. It shouldn't be on the day you graduate and then you decided to write a few resumes and then send it out to the banks or send it out to the different multinationals.
Okay, speaking of a few resumes, right? What do you think is most effective? Sending the same resume to various applications or customizing them to suit job requirement?
I remember the day when I did my sending out of CVs over. Then it was Jobs TV. 30 years ago, Jobs TV is like the market leader in online job portal. I prepared one CV and I mass mailed to say 100 companies every day. And that was kind of very effective for me because you can send out 100 CVs to 100 jobs that you probably is not interested in or you do not know what the job is about. But that gives you the fastest hit rate for people to call you back. However, I feel that is what you call a blind man shooting at a lot of things. There's no targets.
Yeah.
Graduates like yourself, you guys should know what industry and what roles you want to do after you graduate. So I would advise that do that consideration first. Talk to your uncles, talk to your parents, talk to your friends who are successful in life. Get a general idea what you want to do, and then you go and prepare your resume for that industry, for that function, and also the internship programs that you have gone through in your undergraduate's work time to prepare for that job that you want to get. So I think that's so I would say, if you have no consideration of what you want to do, just shoot, just mass mail one template. But if you know what you want to do, and that should be what you should supposed to do, then you have to tailor-make your resume for that function or that industry.
Right. I totally agree on that. So, thanks for sharing on the job preparation side. So let's shift our focus to more on resume. In your opinion, what is the most important element in a resume?
I usually assess resumes for general managers and directors and CEOs, not at graduate level. I'll discuss and share both. Maybe I'll start off with the more senior positions. When I look at the resume of a very senior guys, I will focus on number one, the professional photograph,
right?
Because that's your first impression.
Okay.
And next, the career history. So under career history I'm talking about which year to which year, what position, and his role and the company, because that will tell me about his longevity, his determination to work long in one company, and his title. So that's kind of what I look for in a mature person with many years of work experience. Now for a graduate, if you just graduated, you are applying for a job, I will focus, of course, one is your photograph. Two, I'll be looking at your student activities. Are you a chairperson of this club? Are you a president of that choir team? Are you a school captain of the volleyball team? So those are the things that I will look to assess who you are, to determine about your communication skill set, leadership skill set, and the ability to do different things. Maybe you are not just a sportsman, you are also a person who can sing, a person who with a lot of talents in arts and social sciences. So these are things that I will pick up. And we generally like to see people with that type of breadth, and not just I graduated from business development, biz ed from this university, full stop, and there's nothing to elaborate.
Now, I do see that recruiters are spending a lot of time sort of looking through the resumes, especially in these elements as well as the photos, as you mentioned, right? Just a quick question: how long recruiters spend reading a resume? Because we do have a little bit of a myth about recruiters normally spending about 6 seconds per resume to review. So I just wanted to bust the myth for this one. So as a recruiter itself, I guess this is a chance for me to ask you. So how long do recruiters spend reading a resume?
While I was in China hiring for one of the multinational bank of the world in Shanghai, we were tasked to hire 3,000 graduates for the bank to work as management trainee across the bank in different parts of China. We had 3 recruiters to handle 3,000 hiring. We probably received more than 300 to 500,000 resumes for that whole project. And yes, I think the average time to screen a resume is probably 10 to 15 seconds.
So it's about there.
Yeah, because every second you can read name, photograph, leadership position, date of birth, which province is from, and anything interesting about him. That's about 10 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we put some notes on him, pass or fail, then you move on. Yeah.
Right, okay. Are there any like common mistakes in resumes that turns recruiter off? Maybe you have rejected a lot of students before, so maybe from your examples, from your experiences, could you give us some examples?
The resumes that usually turn recruiters off actually comes from the older generation. In fact, I believe most of the younger generation today, they are actually quite educated on preparing the resumes. They have good templates that they can follow. The schools have taught them what to do. Some of those issues that I guess people make mistake is their resumes are too brief. It doesn't say anything about themselves. Right. Some students may think you should get to know me, and that's why they write very little about themselves, the university that they graduate. They don't elaborate on what they do in school activities, or probably they have none to elaborate, so they just kept it empty. They don't have any internship experience before they graduate, so it's empty. So it's very sad, but if you send to the recruiters a resume that has nothing, there's nothing we can consider about you, so you naturally fall to the fail side. So I like you all, the students, to think about what, if you are the recruiters, what you like to see in a person, and then you should prepare your resume accordingly.
Right. Okay, let's say if the graduates are not able to do an internships and they apply for full-time positions, or let's say if they wanted to apply for an internships and they wanted to really make themselves stand out, right? What are the critical soft skills that actually most employers are looking for nowadays?
We want to find people who are able to express themselves. We are looking for people who are usually extrovert. Now, by nature, I'm an introvert. Extrovert doesn't mean that you are labeled as an introvert. You cannot be an extrovert. You can appear to be an extrovert. Right. Talk more, get to know people in different aspect of life. So I think very important. You want to express yourself like a very salesy person. A person who is very friendly, with very high EQ to communicate with others, and demonstrate leadership qualities of what you have done in the past, and volunteering yourself to do things and more things for the new companies that you want to join. Right. So these are qualities that usually an employer we like to see in a person, and the ability during the interview or your first session with the interviewer, the ability to speak up. We do a lot of batch interviews. The reason why we do group interviews for graduates is to select for, say, Cornerstone. So we select consultants to work for us. We'll put them in settings of maybe 8 to 10 students in one room. We'll do some exercises with them, and we pick the one who are able to speak up. Usually in a group setting like 10, there's a few that will usually be very quiet, right, and a few who will be leading the group. Okay. So usually we want to look for that leader to join our company, because in the world of HR and recruitment, we are looking for people with that tenacity and also the ability to speak up. Okay. And be salesy. Yeah.
So it's communications and leadership are the two most important.
That's what most companies want. Yes. Right. At the start of their career. Yeah.
Right. What about the other soft skills that I do normally see when our graduates or students basically send us the resume for review? Right. I do see this soft skill called multitasking. Could you explain multitasking as a skill that most employers are looking for? Because I believe that not many of our graduates really understand what multitask really means. For them, is they think it's doing two jobs at once. But is it really the two jobs at once? So what do you think, actually?
Okay, in a simple layman term, I'll brush my teeth in the morning. I have my radio on and my iPad on, watching the news, radio on, listening to music. That's a very simple way of saying what's multitasking. If you can do what I just said, and that's what I do on a daily basis, I cannot just brush teeth alone. I must do it with something else. So in life, right, when you are in that mood where your brain is in 3 places at one time, you can multitask. And I'm sure the students, you yourself know whether you can multitask. And some of you cannot, some of you can. You know it yourself. So the ability comes with years of practice, right? Okay. And your desire whether you want to do many things at one time. So it's something you can train yourself into.
Okay. Like in work context, how would you actually do multitask? Like, how do you multitask?
So when I'm writing an email,
Right.
when I'm writing that email, at the same time, I have, for example, someone on the phone
Right.
talking to me. So as I'm talking to me over my headphone, I'm taking notes on the computer. I'm probably replying some emails while still talking to that person.
Okay.
That is a very easy way of multitasking, and that saves a lot of time.
Right.
Because when you interview someone, usually we give them, say, half an hour to an hour time. Sometimes when they're talking repetitive things, you can take notes. Yeah. Some people take notes on the paper, and then they translate that back to the computer. That is actually time wasted on our end. So we teach our guys to multitask by talking and typing, and probably do some emails in between.
Okay, thanks, Sean. You have shared a lot of good tips on the resume elements. My last question would be, are cover letters necessary these days?
Cover letters is a norm in the world of applying for a job. Many people use a very standard ChatGPT cover letter to say what usually they will say about themselves. I am multitasking, I am leadership, I have this, I have that. So it doesn't strike out. So I think cover letter, if you know how to write and design a cover letter, and you should write it yourself, that is something you cannot find on ChatGPT or you cannot find it on, in general. That I would say go for it. But if you are using a very standard cover letter, I think that's not necessary. That one-page resume is more important about your internship, your professional photograph. And I'm not talking about a photograph which you are on the beach. I'm talking about a professional photograph with shirt and tie, and make sure you smile. The smile is very important, and not a very serious criminal photograph, right? That's so important. You'll be surprised some people still use a photograph like they are going to prison, that very dull and angry face. Yeah, so that's a very big mistake for them. So I think cover letters is important if you want to impress them. You want to tell a story.
Right, Sean, thank you so much for all these insightful and valuable information you shared with us today. Anything that you would like to share with us for the viewers?
I think for the viewers, I'm sure there is still a lot of fear and also question mark about going into the real world to be interviewed by people. There is nothing for you to be nervous about. There's a lot of actually good resources, I believe, in the PSB Academy website as well as your YouTube videos. You can also search for Cornerstone interviewing techniques. We also have a lot of features about how you should address an interviewer. And resources on YouTube as well.
Okay, that's great. So make sure you check out the resources from PSB Academy as well as Cornerstone, okay? So thank you so much, Sean, for joining with us today for this interview. And we hope that, of course, our viewers today will learn and take away a lot of valuable information from you. I would like to end off this video by saying thank you so much for watching. And of course, don't just learn it, but also apply it in the future. See you in the next video.
Good luck.